Okay, so intimacy and art. Okay, making art is basically if you're doing it in the way that uh, I mean, yeah, if you're being that's art. Like to me, in my opinion, uh, if you're not doing that, it's not art. If you're not like being like that's what it is. Like sharing, like a person share. Like there's okay, so you learn in school, right? There's to inform, there's to blah blah. Like at the end of the day, is to express yourself. Like a person, like maybe a group of people can make art that is to inform, but like one person, they're not. You're not even doing it to inform or to. You're just doing it to create, right? Like in the Anti-Oedipus when they talk about like which I'm not trying to like that's just I'm just thinking about because I'm only read like first like 30 pages or 40 and like I've read like a few like I've read or I like started a lot of books this year, Kaveh Zahidi, and like he has a thing about that when he's like I always start a book and then I start another book. That's what I haven't because last year I didn't really read at all much. Didn't read much, and this year I haven't read much, but I've read more than. But okay, so they talk about how it's creation. That's what we want to do. It's just like it's all just creation all the time. And so that's at the end of the day, that's what art is, right? Is that, but the intimacy part. There's a part of that. Like that. Just as at a human level, it's pretty. I mean, okay. So what we want the most is not to learn. Like maybe we want to learn about. We don't want to learn about like to learn like to inform. Like I mean, if you make a piece of art that is about a person, you're informing, even a character, even a fictional character, you're informing. Everyone makes up fictional characters. Every single person has characters. Every single person makes up characters and tells narratives. Artists turn that, or narrative artists turn that to a 10, right? Everyone sees weird stuff in their head. Visual artists, or or everyone sees stuff, and visual artists turn it right. So they're all just accessing different parts of the imagination. I'm, I'm not on any. I'm only on weed right now. Okay. uh, I just didn't want to. Okay, whatever. I was just trying. I got caught up in just trying to talk. I didn't want to make like. I'm kind of trying to take an authority or express like an opinion that is kind of authoritative. Like trying to state like an authoritative thing about arts or whatever, which I know like no one knows what art. Like no one knows anything what art is at all. No one knows at all what art and what's the point of art. We don't like. But okay. But so I'm gonna say that I do though. Right. What every single person, even hermits, okay, ex- except for some people, except for a very small amount of people, basically the most universal, very extreme want or need or whatever, right? Like there's water, but the emotional or the one outside of like water, movement of like for blood flow, like food, and even this is kind of because it's related to sex is like intimacy with another person, right? Like that's what, and not just physical intimacy, but emotional intimacy, right? That's like what people like dig a lot. That's like what their favorite thing is. Like everyone, like pretty much everyone's favorite thing is like love, right? I've never been in love, uh, but or right or they're like me and like they're like all they do is just think like oh like love. Like I think like movies a lot too, but I also think like most of my time is probably spent like love like movies, and movies make me fall in love one day. Like one movies. Someone falls in love with me because of movies, because of because like I'm really good at movies, and then I retire. Just kidding. The looking. Which way am I looking? Am I telling the truth? And so, okay, you don't want to, like, like you do, like it's interesting knowing about uh, movies. Or watching movies is so fun, But at the end of the day, that's not what you want to be doing. At the end of the day, you want to be in love. Like most people, like artists, okay, intimate relationships. Uh, Being open about yourself is very challenging for a lot of people. Probably because love is something that, like, if it, like, one, I don't know, I'm not smart. Love is like difficult to have. Like, it's difficult to really get deep love, right? Like like a real relationship. Both people are really gonna have to open themselves up, right? Like a lot to each other fully, like fully naked, your brain fully naked as you can get it. Like they have to know you as well as you know yourself. Like for that's like that's what we at least. I mean, a lot of people in love, they probably even they have the like so people haven't been in love at all. They just I want love. But then people in love are like I want love, right? Because like it's always harder. Like there's always more and more. You can never fully know a person, right? But like I'm sure there are people who are like this is great. This okay, so like that ideal, people probably have it right, and it's probably because they really like know fully the other person. Like they both people were fully vulnerable, and that's rewarding, right? Because like you're super in love. Okay, artists do that to things that don't give them rewards, like or the art that is like the that compulsion that comes from like, and I think that's where art I like comes from. I think I'm gonna get also yeah. I think my art comes. I think the art I like comes from love, and the art other people like. I think the art that I really like, I think, comes from that place. And I would say that about all the art I really like. Like, is I think it comes from that place of wanting that. I think that's a good hope that humans have is that we can like we can really like I can be like love creation love results in love is creation, right? Kind of. I don't know, that sounded it's weird. I was just gonna quote Francis Ha. I sound stoned. um, so if you've ever been in a relationship, imagine doing that but to like, and you can't imagine this because everyone makes art also, right? Everyone has characters in their head, and there's some I read an interview with Bones, which I like his Freeway, When the Trees Meet the Freeway song. I know that song, and I know his other. Peter was really into Bones when he was like, when we were in sophomore year. So that was like when Bones was like, I don't even know if Bones was famous. Peter was into stuff. Fiji. Peter was into Fiji before like aesthetic and stuff, or when it was still like no, because because Young Lean was like freshman year, late freshman year, and then Peter started listening to Young Lean like he was like Peter always like doesn't understand that I was like on 4chan all the time, like so like I knew like who Young Lean was. Like I watched Ginseng Strip like the day, like I watched Ginseng Strip early. I have an Anorak by Patrick Herb. I got it that summer. I think, or the summer app. Like I got it like thinking, oh, this looks like that Young Lean because I wanted that Young Lean Ralph Lauren. That was cool. That outfit was so cool. I had New Balances, but that's more because of Patrick Herbal. And also the Anorak is kind of more because of Patrick Herbal than because of Young Lean. But I don't know. I'm shit talking Sophie. She's my best friend. Peter's into a lot of cool stuff that I like have no idea about. Like since always, I don't know any idea. I don't have any idea about it because I don't have any idea about it. I think he was into Vetements before it was cool. So is that me bragging about going on 4chan every day, or was I just trying to share that? I don't. I haven't gone on 4chan since like February, early February or January, late January or early February, and I was only going on advice anymore. I don't trust 4chan. I think most of the internet. I go on Reddit still, but I don't trust Reddit at all. I trust Reddit less than 4chan. Like 4chan is like a good community, but like a bad one too. Like because it's anonymous. I have tartar, a lot of tartar. I have a crush on a girl who I don't really know. Like recently. And like just okay, just because she probably knows, just because of how like relationships work, she probably knows. I think because I told someone who she probably knows, which just makes me really I don't like no I don't like I don't like that. At least she's real and not a media personality. I'm gonna look out my window. Nothing wrong with this. There's a lot. Yeah. I haven't looked at her Twitter or anything. I haven't tried to find her Twitter. I haven't tried to find her last name or like remember her last name. Like I've tried to remember her last name just as I don't remember her last name. Not as like I have to remember her last name. Like if I remembered her last name and maybe I would it would take more self control to not try to find her Twitter, but I wouldn't. My hands were red. Um, okay, that level of intimacy is hard. So if you do it to just like um, a record microphone, if you just do it to Pro Tools, if you're like spilling your heart out to Pro Tools isn't. You need to share that. But so if you're like kind of avoidant or shy, or I'm just looking at myself and the thing, you like Vincent Gallo in the Brown Bunny. He was like sometimes in the scenes he was staring into the video monitor. That's amazing. I'm gonna do that all the time in my next movie. I totally forgot about that. Why haven't I been doing that? If you're doing it to Pro Tools or I mean outside of art, if you're doing it to like calculus or like a pastry or like a garden, I guess those and art, those things all have rewards, right? And art has a reward, but it's not being in love, definitely not. But the goal is putting yourself out there, right? So the goal is being, or the reward is being in love for a lot of people. Is they find like you really, I mean, part of art is getting popular. That's like part of the, at least for me, and I think for a lot of people in America right now, at least who are born, I hope, or just for, it seems for a long time, even before America, that people just artists have always wanted to be popular. It seems pretty common. seems weird. It would seem impure. It seems like a purity in an artist is the want to be liked by a lot of people. To me, I'm just arguing for myself. It seems doesn't. I'm gonna trash talk people like fake like when that doesn't like just wanting to make art or whatever. I guess a lot of people do exhibit that, don't they? But I think they probably also exhibit a lot of alienated, like really. I mean, alienated people. They don't want to be alienated. Like no alienated person. That's what I'm saying. Is that right? Is it even even people who like, most people want to be in love with? Like, it's like all they want. It's like all. It's like we think about that all the time. Like everyone. It's like and we think super fucked up thoughts. And when we aren't nervous about those thoughts, when those thoughts don't drive us insane, it's called being normal. And when they do drive us insane, it's called obsessive compulsive disorder. The fucked up thoughts, not the love. But so those are everyone is either thinking super fucked up shit or like wish fulfillment love stuff, or wish fulfillment like job promotion stuff, right? That's like or or maladaptive or just very vivid. You know, a spectrum of vividness and unrealisticness of daydreams that ends in psychosis. Maybe is this my own personal theory of mental illness, or is this? And why is it called mental illness? Because it's okay. So the artist or whatever, the artist, he or she. Purities in the artist, wanting to be popular, and these are both because they're both for the same reasons. Wanting to be popular, so you can like I mean, there's more chance that you're gonna find someone who you're gonna be more likely to just like be in love with, like be comfortable being completely naked, your naked brain in front of them, or whatever. Just exposing yourself completely, right? Because that's the most rewarding aspect of love, of which is the most rewarding aspect of life. Like how like that's what it seems like. That seems to be a consensus that I think a lot of people would agree with. Um, but so even hermits like want that. Like they just they're just like they they take that out on compulsions. It's like hermetic, I don't know, behavior. I don't know, but a lot of them want that. Like a lot of them want love. Like right, like. But so it's just a very small amount of people like probably don't have like that. We're just missing that part. Like Tom Cruise and Collateral. Something something is just in people and it's not there in you. There's something just in people. There's something in people, but there's something like core. He says something like core or something. I'll just I won't tell anybody. I promise. You promise you won't tell anybody. Okay. Oh right. So that love, and I'm gonna say something. Okay, that want to be popular or whatever, right? Versus just that creation, just the creation kind of on a maybe a little bit of a hyper in the imaginative creation, because a lot of people create not artistically for a lot more practical reasons. One of the great things about art is that it's totally unpractical, like except for really good art, like clothes, but like or food, sure. But I mean, once you get, I mean, okay, yeah, this is my art, right? I mean, a football player would say this is my art, right? Kind of essential thing about art is that it's not is that it's totally imaginatory. Like architecture is beautiful, it's amazing, like it's pragmatic, right? Is it art then? Because flourishes, but if art is something that's existed forever, it is pragmatic because it serves a mental or emotional purpose, a hopeful one, I think, and that's that there's love, that like there's love, even sad, even super sad. The message of even very sad pieces of art is there's love, I think, because this person is like a very they're showing these very embarrassing, sad emotions, right? They're very just very big. You know, any kind of any level of negativity is very big to show in public. I like to other people. Um, I think it's like Satan Tango, right? It's like the message of Satan Tango is there's love, in my opinion. Yeah, and so I agree with that. And so when you the popular okay, so when the popularity thing when we mimic also humans. We mimic each other. Everyone is their mom and dad or whoever raised them, basically. Their mom and their dad and their culture, or their mom, or their dad, or their dad and their culture, their mom and their, blah, blah, mom and their culture. Is that all of it? Culture, yeah, I don't know. So, or uncle, whatever. Like, you know, an uncle can be like a mom. When I say mom and dad, I mean like person in your life, like you know, like people in your life like that. Like it can be friends, it can be whatever, family. So I mean, some people don't have that at all, and it's really sad. They grow up without that, and they're just raised like by their culture completely. And when you live in a culture, it's really like capitalism or something, right? I mean, the way that influences everything, the movies and the arts, especially, right? Because to get popular, it's not about that love, it's about money. What are people gonna mimic to 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 and to because it has to pretend to be art. It has to pretend to not be capital product. Like it has to pretend that or people aren't gonna buy it. They're gonna like it has to pretend that it's not a commercial. It's not the same exact thing as like a commercial. That like when you go to most movies, you aren't going. So in DOS races, they said that television is like a commercial for itself. But I mean, movies, I mean, commercial art or whatever. That's the same thing. It's just a commercial for itself. You're paying 2 hours for this like spectacle. Like it's moving. It's taking advantage of just that it's moving. Just that it being the movie theater is moving. It's taking advantage of that, and it's like hypnotizing people. Like I mean, there are advertisements. Okay, how fucked up is it that there are advertisements in this like insanely hypnotizing this thing that's like dreams, like this thing that it's like people have been comparing it to dreams, going to a movie theater to like dreams, like since the very beginning. How crazy is that? That it's illegal for there to be advertisements at all. Applebee's and Talladega Nights, like you think they didn't get money for that or something? Like you want Applebee's after it. Even there are a bunch of jokes about Applebee's, but I mean, and I love Talladega Nights, but I mean, that's not art. There's no art in that at all. I love that movie. I've watched it so much. This is me shit talking all the movies I like a lot. Even the ones without, I mean, the ones without advertisements are still like who owns. Okay, like I'm gonna stop talking. I'm gonna stop naming people. I love Talladega Nights. But right, in the other guys at the end, it's kind of bullshit that they're like trying to come against rich people. Like, how much money do Adam McKay and Will Ferrell have? I love Adam McKay and Will Ferrell. Watch their movies all the time. Cool. Okay. The Big Short is bullshit. Um, Hollywood's bullshit. All of it. Every movie made there ever. It's not arts. It's commercial. It's not arts. It's not art. None of it is art. Like the the really good art ones. It's still not art, right? It's still less art, more of a commercial product. Even though, and I'm just not gonna name names. All of it, like all of them, all of it is all of it, right? And that's really like upsetting. That's really I don't. That doesn't make me. I'm. I don't like that. I think that. I wish I didn't think that. Like, but at the end of the day, I think that. And the traditions, because the traditions of just perpetuating this super fucked non-art thing. And people are starting to. I mean, people are like movies are so shitty. It's because it's just fucking been like this for like a long enough time right when the art started. And so the art's hardly grown. It's grown in the underground, which like the people who should be aware of the underground aren't. Like the greats, they're good. The greats, they're obviously really good. But I mean, what they don't make art though. A filmmaker's job is more like running a $40 million temporary business than any it is any art. Like it's closer to what that person does, the person who operates, than it is to any art that's existed. Like why, like so, what's art about it? About any of these movies, what's the art about it? That like it's made me cry, like or that it's like made me want to make movies like really badly, like for to I that it's made me like more like, and I hope for that for a good reason. So they're not bad people. Why did I look down? I don't. It's just. I think we really need to. We need to. It's because it's not because it's like it'd be so confusing to just be like, oh, we're done with that. But like, do we have to? Like, does some like it's almost urgent, or it's not urgent. Like movies don't matter at all. They were a failure. Like because they've always, I mean, for 100 years they've been passing off like commercials as art and just hypnotizing us with that idea. Like this is what art is. Manipulation. And I don't know if anyone's. I mean, it's not a conspiracy or. It seems like just this thing that happened in the system we live in, where it got popular, where it was invented or discovered. And why? Because people have been having like visual. People compare hypnagogia to movies, to like watching something being projected on a movie screen, and people compare hypnagogia to dreams. People compare dreams to life, daydreams, the parts, things you visualize in your head. Why don't why like we have a visual? We have this. We create very vivid, like every person does, dreams. Like in our head, we see, like, why do we think that we invented film? Like, oh, because an invention is like it's an extension of the, right. It's like an extension of the imagination somehow. So that's just an extension of that part of the imagination. And it like captures light, so it isn't. It's not the visual part of the mind. I'm itching my ankle. Hassan said that the camera's not like at all. It's a lie detector.